Let's go to line number one. Say good morning to the President of the Federation of School Councils, Peter Whittle. Peter, you're on the air.
Good morning, Patty. Enjoying your preamble. It's definitely the best 15 minutes of radio anywhere in Canada.
Thanks for that, Peter. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's great. It's well-researched. You know what's going on. And the hardest part is when you're listening to it, you go, I'm called about a certain topic. I'd love to weigh in on the others. I'm wearing my hat today as president of the of the parent council, I guess school council at Virginia Park Elementary. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to talk about this morning, Patty, is how, we're delighted. There's steels going up on the site. The school is coming. It was a long lobby on the community's part, and the result obviously has been positive. My issue this morning is we've been, as you're aware, we've talked to you many times about this from the beginning. We wanted to ensure that the first part of this fight really was to ensure we kept the community school in that East End area of St. John's. We're looking forward to now having a renaming to have a new name for the facility. And the big issue always was zoning and our catchment area. As we've talked about before, our student population has gone down, mostly because the board over the last 10, 12, 13 years and different boards have refused to have leadership and the vision to accommodate the community as a whole. They basically created a ghetto situation, and as a result, it's capped our ability to grow.
Just one second. So what's the specific? They haven't expanded the catchment to your liking?
Well, they haven't expanded the catchment at all. The problem is that the catchment area is basically the boundary is at Logie Bay Road, at the intersection of Logie Bay Road and Newfoundland Drive. So everybody on the other side, even within the 1.6, 1.8 walking area, are bused to other schools, particularly Mary Queen of Peace, which is overcrowded at 750 kids. All of the new developments up across from NTV and students up in Stavanger Drive area are all bused by our school, which has been half empty for 10 years, rather than using that facility. Now we're going to have a brand new school. We're going to have room to accommodate new students. And you talk about government wasting money or board wasting money. We're now getting ready for full-day kindergarten. There's extensions going on, various schools and everything else. Instead of reviewing the way they have worked on this in the past, creating the situation that they've created, and accommodating more children, elementary schools at the East End Elementary School, a brand new school, they're going to continue busing. They're going to continue spending a great deal of money where they don't need to.
Yeah, none of that makes any sense to me.
Well, it's never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
I fought this. We had a series of planning sessions starting in about 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008. There was another one recently, and the only thing that makes sense is they did the zoning to ensure that they would be able to close out the school. That didn't happen. And, as a result, what you get is we don't have a fair mix of the socioeconomic area that we live in. We have the majority of a certain cross-section, and everyone else is excluded, for the most part. And to me, it has always been about socioeconomic planning. It's almost an apartheid-type approach. And I know that in the past I've been criticized for saying that, but I stand by it. And here we are now laying off teachers, saying we don't have enough money for this, but we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars, or at least millions of dollars in extensions and everything else at different educational facilities, perhaps in the East End of St. John's. We're building a brand new school that we spent, over $15 million on, and we can accommodate more students, and they're still busing them past us. Why are they going to continue to do that?
It's a fair question. I have no earthly idea of what the justification is, especially if and when they're busing children to a school that's at or over capacity. So I will indeed reach out to Mr. Pike and see if he can offer some comment on why that's going to continue. I have a funny feeling, so is this going to be because of the amount of resources available to hire teachers to accommodate more students?
No, Yeah, go ahead.
No, because if that's the case, then that's going to be a hard one to wiggle past. But if it's simply going to be... the catchment areas are strange in the first place, in my opinion. So, I have people living at the top of my street who are in a different catchment than the kids at the bottom of the street. For starters, that makes no sense to me. So, I'm going to see what Pike has to say. Anything else you want to say about it, Peter, before I take another call?
Sure, Pat. I welcome getting answers. We've asked for answers. We've always been told it's not a socioeconomic issue. When you talk about things being strange, what's really bizarre in our case is for the past 15 years, when they changed the catchment areas, there are students who are picked up on a bus and delivered to this overcrowded school who are within the 1.8-kilometer walking range to our school. What I'm saying to you is they could leave their door, walk to our school, and they're still bused to another.
So, this is the tough question, because the school that was there in the first place, just down in Virginia Park, it was just Virginia Park Elementary, wasn't it? Is that what it was called?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah. So, people viewed that in one very distinct light. It was the poor kids that lived in that neighborhood with Newfoundland and Labrador housing, and they're the kids who went to that school. So are you saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth because this is a tricky road to go down, but when you say ghettoized and socioeconomic, are you thinking that plays a role in maybe parents fight back from other areas, other neighborhoods that are saying they don't want their children to be in that school? Consequently, public or parent pressure has caused for this catchment confusion?
Patty, I have made similar suggestions to every single zoning exercise that I've attended over the past 15 years. There is no other explanation that I can understand. There has not been the leadership to align this zoning to reflect our entire community. This is something that we've been asking for 10, 15 years, and it hasn't happened. And I'll leave it to the public when you put out the facts of what's going on. And one of the things we did at one of the hearings, and I'll gladly send you the information, is we took the socioeconomic information provided by the provincial government under its poverty initiatives, and we looked at salaries and medium house incomes in the East End of St. John's. We overlapped the catchment zones over that, and the information that came back wasn't pretty.
I'd love to be able to examine that particular portion of the story a little further. I'm just trying to think about how I go at it. I wonder, that's extraordinary, because it's completely ridiculous.
In light of the shortage of money, why would we be spending hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars on extending other schools and busing when we've got a state-of-the-art investment paid for by public dollars? Listen, this is not private schools we're talking about. It's public schools, neighborhood schools, community schools. Why are we not enforcing walking the walk?
I totally understand this concern, and I'm going to chase it because it's a big, big question. For some of the parents out there listening this morning who may indeed be responsible for some of that pressure being put at the feet of Mr. Pike and others at the school district, if you're all of a sudden thinking that your middle or upper middle class and or upper class child who doesn't actually have any money, you're the person with the money, if you're thinking that they don't belong in the classroom with those who are less fortunate for one reason or another, then they're the exact same bozos who are telling me we can't have uniforms because the child needs to express himself through the clothes I can afford to buy them, that type of stuff. So if you're the people that are forcing this issue at the school board level, you should be duly embarrassed of yourself. And that, okay, I'm going to leave it.
I agree. Actually, the board should be embarrassed for itself.
Well, I understand that too.
Before.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the opportunity to just get it out there for discussion, and if you can generate more discussion on it, albeit, because I think the only way this will be changed if those who have fought it for years, particularly at the board level, are shamed into realizing what they've been doing.
I'm going to see what I can find out, Peter. I appreciate the call.
Oh, always appreciate talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye. Peter Whittle is, of course, member of the Virginia Park Parents Organization, that's school council, but, of course, he's the president of the Federation of School Councils. Imagine. Just imagine. I know people think like this. I mean, man, parents who are willing to fight that fight with the school board to protect what you think is your lot in life and your socioeconomic ability and the fact you're house poor and can't necessarily afford that Mercedes, but you got one, and if the interest rates go up 1 point, you're going to be out on your arse, and you're going to fight that fight, and you don't want your children to co-mingle at school with those who haven't got as much money as you. I mean, is that really what's going on here? Seriously? Yeah, well, what we can say is whoever is actually doing that, if you are doing it, then we can safely guess that your child is going to be a pain in the ass, who's going to be judgmental and impossible, and probably is already. Boys, oh boys.